Hi again folks, how you all doing? This is a Bachmann 45XX Prairie tank engine that was sent to me by Andy. As you can see, it's in a state of disassembly with some accompanying spares. Andy's given up on it and has asked if I could get this back together and running again, as it's got a bit of sentimental value to him, and apparently it's his wife's favourite, so no pressure then. Obviously I can't back this into the shed, but the wizard here will magic it away back to the bench. Right, okay, a Bachmann Prairie. I don't think I've looked at a Prairie before. I don't think so. Yeah, I think this is my first Prairie. So, yeah, it's in a state of disassembly. I think Andy's had a go at sorting this. He's left all the screws in their holes there, that's quite good. Let's just have a look at what's in this bag. Got the front and rear bogies, we've got drive wheels, this pickup plate, yeah I think that's the old one, pickups are a bit mangled. Yeah, I think that's the old one, so these are probably the old wheels as well, I would imagine. Yeah, they all look fine. So I think it's just going to be a case of getting this back together. I'd like to get the chassis out though and get a look at the motor. Just test the motor actually, touch a battery on the pickups and make sure we've got a working motor. Should be able to. Yep. Right, let's open this up. Screw front and rear. There you go. Right, out that comes. Oh, it's one of those. I can hear chainsaws outside. There's going to be building work near my house soon, so I may have a little bit of a soundtrack in some videos in the not too distant future, but we'll see. It all looks okay. Bit dirty. We'll give it a scoosh out and some fresh lubrication. Right, okay, we'll let that evaporate off and then we'll get this lubricated up and put back together. Hopefully it'll be quite easy. I've now just cursed it. I'm going to go and get myself a cup of tea and a biscuit. Right, cup of tea and a chocolate biscuit had. And yeah, they're cutting down trees outside, so you might hear some chainsaws going. It's the council preparing the ground to build houses on a site that nobody wanted them to build houses on, but there you go. And I cannot stand the sound of chainsaws or any two-stroke engines. When I used to fly model airplanes, it's why I sort of went to veered towards gliders and electric flying. I couldn't stand the sound of little IC engines. See, I can hear the chainsaws out there. It'll drive me nuts. Right, okay, let's get on with this. Just try and ignore it. Okay, we'll get some lubrication into these gears and then we'll put this back together. It's not just the sound of the chainsaws, it's the big grinders they use to cut up all the branches and logs. And I think that's what I'm hearing now. And that'll go on all day. Right, some silicone grease and we'll get some gear oil in. Just a wee spot of oil on the gear spindle there. And on that motor bearing. Get those wires where they're supposed to go. Yeah, I think it'd be better to get that in separately, so we'll take that off. Much easier to do this with the main rods off. I'm not entirely happy with these wheels. I'm not convinced that they're set right. No, they're not sitting right and not quartering. No, there's something not right. I'm going to take the rods off altogether and just redo them. Right, rods off altogether. That should now allow me to get these wheels all aligned, make sure they're sitting right. Oh, I think we've got a quartering issue. Or have we got wheels mixed up with other wheels? Right, okay, let's take these out. I knew I shouldn't have said this was going to be easy. Right, hang on a minute. We've got problems with the wheels. So, they're all like that. Put them all to 12 o'clock on that side. And they should all be nine o'clock on the other side. And I think that one is a bit out. That one's maybe better. Or that one. Yeah, I think I'm going to take that one out and bring this one in. So if the crank's on this side, sitting at 12 o'clock, the other ones are all now sitting at 9 o'clock. So that looks okay. So, if we pop the wheels in, like so, yeah, they look better. I'm just going to put a tiny wee piece of black tack into the spanner, just to grip the crank pin. Makes it easier for getting it in. Yeah, that one's got itself a bit bent. So on this side, I've got this piece here. So I can't just slide it in like I did on that side. I've got to try and get the piston into the hole, the crosshead into the sliders, but this piece has to be outside that part there. I think the only thing to do is to remove this this bracket. You're going to see now how handy gave up with it. I'm trying to get this screw out. And it just there, right. Okay, does this bracket come out, or it's actually attached to the sliders? Blimey, Bachmann, what are you doing to me here? Right, got it. Right, that bracket clips onto the sliders, but you push it backwards to unclip it. Of course I can't get the spanner in because of the position the wheels are in. Right, I'll try and negotiate this on. I've almost got the top actually, so yeah, and it'll hook behind that part there. kind of like that. Right, okay, let's get this under frame in place and get these wheels locked down, and then that'll be that. Alright, okay, I've finally got the rods and the wheels back in place on this. It was really fiddly, but got there in the end. Let's stick this on the test track, see if it goes. Right, power on, and away it goes. Right, okay, so happy with that. I'm going to go and get some lunch, take the dogs out for a walk, and then I'll come back late this afternoon and get this back together. I think it'll be fine. Fingers crossed. Right, so bacon roll consumed, dogs walked. Let's get on with this. I've forgotten to do something. I didn't put any oil in the axles. We'll need to do that because there's no bearings in there. Need to make sure they're well lubricated. Right, we'll pop this off again and we'll get some oil in. We'll give the wheels a clean as well. Right, get some oil into the axles. Right, we need to sort these wires out because that wants to get screwed into there. There's not much space for the wires, so just have to stuff them under the socket, I think. Right, let's see if we can just tuck these wires underneath the socket. There we go. That should do it. That wire's going to sit in there, and that wire's going to sit in there. It should all be tickety-boo. Right, okay, I think we'll fit the body on. Like so. These bogies, one's longer than the other. I think the longer one is the front one. And we've got to fit these onto there. It goes on there like that. There we go. And we'll get the dusty brush onto it. And there we are. That's this Bachmann Prairie all back together. Right, quick test. A wee bit of pickup squeak. It seems to be fine. It's pulling about 100 milliamps. So there we go, that's this Prairie sorted. It was a bit of a fiddle, but that was really just because I wasn't familiar with the model. I haven't worked on one of these before. There's nothing really complicated about it. You know, if I was to work on another one of these, I would know exactly what to do and it wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, I mean, Andy was having trouble with the wheels, and I'm not sure if he's got old wheels and new wheels mixed up or something, but one set of wheels in what he was saying was the new wheel set was out of quarter. So I just took wheels from the old wheel set and it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with the old wheel set, so I think Andy said it jammed up at some point. I think it was possibly the rods, you know, one of the main rods was quite bent, so I think that was probably the only problem this really had. So it could have been a very easy fix. But anyway, it's all back together now and running fine. A wee bit of a problem. It's funny how often that happens. A model runs absolutely fine on the test track and then you get onto the layout and all sorts of weird and wonderful things start to happen. This started stopping on points, which surprised me, and it was slowing down on the curves quite badly as well. In fact, at one point it actually stopped altogether on the curve. And I also noticed that its traction was really poor. I hooked it up to some coaches and it wouldn't pull 3 mainline coaches. The wheels were slipping, so I thought there's definitely something wrong with this. So after much head scratching and investigation, I noticed that the front bogie was actually lifting the front of the locomotive up. And that was meaning that the wheels weren't touching the track properly, so I had very poor traction, poor pickup, and going around the corners, it meant the flanges were actually biting into the rails a little bit. So I took the little spring clip out and bent it a bit to try and reduce the amount of downward force on the bogie, because that's what that little spring is supposed to do. And then it started derailing, so I took it out altogether, and it runs absolutely fine. There's one on the rear bogie as well, but that seems to be okay. But yeah, it doesn't need it. Putting that in puts too much downward force on the front bogie, and it lifts the locomotive up. So that spring is too large and too strong, and it's better off without it. So I'm just going to leave this without the little spring on the front bogie, because it runs much better without it. Okay, we'll pull it out the shed. So there we are, that's Andy's Bachmann 45XX Prairie tank sorted out. No problems really once I sorted out the wheels and figured out how that bracket unclipped from the sliders. Just a bit of a fiddle really, and had to play a bit of mix and match with the old wheel set to get it all sorted. And then I had that issue with the front bogie off camera, which had me stumped for a bit, but removing that spring clip solved the problem. A bit of over-engineering by Bachmann there, but thankfully it works just fine without it. So, job done, and I'm sure Andy will be happy to have this back in one piece and running again. Always good to work on a locomotive I haven't worked on before, and to have a Great Western locomotive come to the shed for repair, and a wee run in the Scottish countryside. Okay folks, I shall get this packed up and sent back to Andy, and I'll catch you later.